In this video, I'm going to show you the easiest way to self-host n8n using Node.js or Node Package Manager. Self-hosting n8n gives you a lot of advantages, the biggest being the fact that you'll have full control over your data and the privacy of the data that you're using in n8n to create these workflows. And it will also give you the ability to utilize local large language models that you can use on your local machine, and we can integrate with Ollama to be able to have access to these large language models. I'll do a video on that later on, but this one is going to be specifically showing you an easy way, so even if you don't know how to code, this will make sense to you to locally host n8n on your local machine. All right, let's get started. Okay, so there is documentation of self-hosting on n8n's website. So if you go take a look at that, they don't give you a lot of information about using Node Package Manager to globally host n8n on your local machine. They have another method called npx that uses Node, but I'm going to show you another way to completely host it on your computer, so that way you don't have to worry about your data getting lost or being able to save your workflows even after you shut down your server. Okay, so the second method that n8n prefers is using Docker, but if you're not familiar with code, then Docker is not going to make too much sense to you because it's going to be a bit complicated. And again, I'll do another video on running n8n through Docker as well, but that's going to be a bit more complicated, so I want to make sure that I keep this as simple as possible. So what we're going to use is Node. If you're not familiar with Node, Node.js is basically a free open source cross-platform of JavaScript runtime environment, and it's very, very popular, especially for building web apps, command line tools, backends, front ends, so it's extremely popular. But anyway, so you're gonna come to nodejs.org, and if you don't have Node on your computer, you're just gonna download your Node, and then we're able to run a few code through command line through our terminal, and we'll be able to go ahead and start n8n on our local machine. Okay, so once you've done that, you're going to come back. If you have a Mac, you'll click on terminal and your terminal will open. So the first thing we need to do is we need to check to make sure that Node got properly installed on our computer. The way we do that is just typing node-v, and this just gives you the version of Node that you have installed. And then also another one we need to check is npm-v, because npm just stands for Node Package Manager. And there you go. So I have both installed. So now what we need to do is create a directory, so that way we can save our n8n files on one local directory. So you can go ahead and create it manually on your desktop, and then you can cd into it, or I'm just going to use the command line tool from here. All you have to do is just do mkdir. So I'm just going to create a folder called n8n on my desktop. Okay, all right, so that's done. We'll get into that folder and create another folder for our data. But for now, let's just go ahead and install n8n via the Node Package Manager. So all you have to type is npm install. Oops, I can make sure you're spelling it correctly. So npm install -g-n8n, and that's pretty much it. That's the only line of code you need to be able to install n8n on your computer. And -g means that it's going to install n8n globally on your computer, so that way you'll have full access to it. So you're going to press enter. Depending on your computer, it's going to take a minute or so to be able to install all of the packages of n8n, and then you'll be able to have access to it. You don't have to do this again afterwards. And it's going to give you access on your local host in a port that they will specify, and I'm going to walk through what that port is like. So let's just go ahead and let this install on your computer. All right, perfect. So now we're done. So let's now go ahead. So we're pretty much done at this point as far as installing things. So let's go ahead and check out our local server. So the local server that this will you can access to, it's called localhost, and the port is 5678. So if we go ahead and go to a new localhost, it's basically this. Let me get rid of this because I had already checked it out earlier. Yeah, so you'll come to your computer on your new tab and just say localhost :5678. And if you just press enter, right now it says the site can't be reached because we don't have our n8n running right now through our terminal. But let's go ahead and do that. Now that this got installed, all we need to do is now come and type n8n, and that's it. So once you type n8n, now your local host, it says editor is now accessible via localhost 5678. So that's what I was checking out earlier. So you can either press O and it will automatically open a new tab, or you can just go to localhost 5678 And since you already done that, there you go now. So if it's your first time, here's what you're going to look like, because I've already used it before. So that's why it's allowing me to log in. But if it's your first time, it's going to bring you to this page where you need to, as you can see, it says localhost. If I put localhost here, it's going to force me to create a sign in. And because I already signed in on my Chrome, so that's why it's taking me directly to my workflows. If it's once you install this, if it's your first time, then you're going to see in screen here where you need to create a new username and password. And again, the n8n on your local server has no connection with your n8n cloud account. So that's why you need to create new credentials when you're using n8n on your local server. So first time you come, it'll show you the form where you can create a username and password. And then once you sign in, that's it. Every time afterwards, when you go to your local host, and of course, you need to make sure that your n8n is running. So every time afterwards, it's going to bring you directly here, where then you can create, your workflows from scratch. You'll have same thing, access to all of the different integrations that n8n already has. You have access to their advanced AI, basically everything in your cloud account that you have access to through your local internet. The big advantage is now that everything is saved on your local machine and you don't have to worry about your data getting leaked. If you already have an account, let me go ahead and show you. So right now there's nothing here. So if you already have an account in cloud and you've created several workflows, the way to grab the workflows from there and bring it over here is you will basically go back to your n8n cloud account. So let me go ahead and open that. So let me go to my workflows here. So let's say I have already a bunch of workflows on my cloud account. So I want to bring in, let's say I want to bring in this workflow into my local workflow now, right? So what I will do is go ahead and click on these 3 dots over here on the top right hand side, and you're gonna click on download. And once you get this thing downloaded, this is basically gonna be a JSON file that gets downloaded. So this is what it's gonna look like. I mean, I'm opening it in my VS Code, but it's gonna look like this. So basically the file, let me open up the file actually, because that's gonna be easier. Okay, there you go. Yeah, so this is the weather data workflow.json, right? So now what you need to do is, like, once you download that file, now we're going to go back to our local server, right? And again, you want to make sure that your terminal is running. We're going to come here, start from scratch, and go back to the top right hand corner here, and we're going to import from file, right? Because we already downloaded this file, and you're going to go ahead and select your file that you just downloaded. And that's it. Very, very simple, right? And then obviously you have to make sure that you're putting your right credentials, because it's going to remove all of your accounts. You have to make sure you go ahead and create new credentials for everything that you already, because like I said, it's not going to import your credentials or anything like that from your cloud account. So essentially it's a brand new account. Think of it that way. So you have to reconnect everything. But obviously once you connect it once, your credentials will show up here again. Yeah, so that's again the simplest way to host n8n on your local machine. You can go to their n8n's GitHub page, and it gives you more ways to host, and the biggest being the one using Docker. But again, if you're not familiar with code and you're new to code, Docker is going to be very confusing. So this, in my opinion, is the simplest way to host n8n on your local machine via Node Package Manager. All right, well, hopefully you found this helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.